sure you do this. I want you to share the broadcast. I want you to like our page on LaJun Valora. I want you to like Valora Cole. I want you to like LaJun Cole on Clubhouse. And then lastly, I want you to like us on YouTube. And so we have a
Yes.
YouTube channel, and we want you to make sure that you like our page on YouTube. So, my title was Whatever You Do. Sometimes I'm sitting back and I'm talking to people, and people are trying to get started with working out. You're trying to get started with your fitness plan. You're trying to get started writing the book. You're trying to get started doing, whether you're starting a business or whatever it is that you're doing. I say, whatever you do, just get started.
Right.
Because sometimes you spend so much time trying to figure out whether or not you're going to get started, that the reality is you never get started, and as a result you never get anything going, so you don't do anything.
Right.
And so the thing you got to get over is, especially as a creator, when we creators, oftentimes as creators, you have great vision, you have great insight, you have a lot of great ideas, but you have a problem getting started. And so I think the thing that you got to do is you just got to get started. Whatever you do,
Mhm.
just get started. Now, in order to do that, I'm also saying that you, number one, have got to get rid of the excuses. Sometimes as creators, we have all these excuses for why we can't do this, why we can't do that. Even was it Moses? I think it was Moses that gave God 11 different reasons why he couldn't do what he was telling him he could do.
Absolutely.
And you said you
Absolutely.
topped Moses. You said you gave
Oh, my
God.
list, listen, my list, top Moses list. When God was dealing with me about doing a particular thing, even when he was sharing with me that I was going to get married, I'm looking at my life and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that. This is why I can't do it. I began to disqualify myself from walking in what God had said belonged to me. So I began to disqualify myself. I said, oh God, this is wrong with me. That's wrong with me. That's wrong with me. And so one of the amazing things about God, he never considers our limit or what we see as limits. He never considers that. He declares what we're going to do, and he already knows that it's already done.
Wow. I think that's amazing, because sometimes, one, we disqualify ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Two, we listen to other people who disqualify us. And
Mm-hmm.
then three, we don't get anything done because we never get started, because we disqualify ourselves before we
Mm-hmm.
get started. And
Right.
so that's the thing that I don't know who I'm talking to or who this message is for, but I do want to say that those who are out there, that even if you've already got a business, or if you've already got a ministry, or if you've already got a book, to
Mm-hmm.
do your next one, it's going to take you getting started again,
Mm-hmm.
and doing the things that you're called to do, and not looking at your insufficiencies. Because listening
Right.
to me, let me tell you something very, very quick. The one thing that you cannot do is, it's never going to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. Your situation's never going to be perfect. You're
Right.
never going to have all the money you need to do it. You're never going to do all the things that you need to do. But I think if you move by faith, I'm not saying that you just move without any kind of strategy, but you at least begin to do movement, begin to do reconnaissance, begin to
Yes.
define what you want to do, begin to write it down, begin to structure it, and then guess what? Begin to do something. Because the reality is that what you were called to make a difference, you were called to add value. There's more value in you than you realize. There's more value in all your experience, all the challenges, all the storms you've been through, all the things that you've
Yes.
been through. And I was talking to somebody earlier, and so my wife was something was planning in this planning meeting, and so I was talking about something I wanted my wife to do, and the person on the other end of the call said, no, that's not, mom can do. I mean, she has just amazing talent. She has amazing capacity. She has amazing capability, and so that's not enough for all that she would give in that. And I was like,
Right.
wow,
Because sometimes we sell ourselves short
sell herself short.
and we think, well, and we don't put value on ourselves. And one of the things that the enemy does, I understand that because I've dealt with it myself. One of the things he does is he begins to talk to us and say, it's not going to happen. It's going to take too much. You don't have the time, so on and so forth. And so then we begin to procrastinate. We begin to hesitate. We begin to pull back. And then what the enemy does, he'll come right back around and say, oh, you could have been further along than this, and you're lazy, all of these different things that he would taunt you with.
Mm.
And so it's almost like a catch-22. He prevents you from doing it, and then when you don't do it, then he hounds on you because you didn't do it.
And then listen. This is the other thing. He gets people that are close to you. People that he never you don't listen to people that are far off.
Right.
You don't listen to
Because you
people
don't
that are
care.
not close to
Right.
because you don't care. But
Right.
then he gets people that are close to you. So
Hmm.
the person talks to you and he says, you know what, you're not going to do that. It's not going to be valuable. You can't do that. You're not
Right.
amazing enough to do that.
Right.
But you've got to silence those voices. You got to silence the voice inside of you that's telling you that you shouldn't get started. You got to silence the voice inside of you that's telling you that you're not capable of doing whatever.
Hmm.
And then you got to get started. So number one, what are you going to do? You're going to get started. Number
Right.
two, you're going to get rid of all the excuses. Number three, you're going to silence all the voices that are telling you what you can't do, and you're going to listen to the voice inside of you that says you can do this. And then
Right.
number four, then you got to understand it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect.
Right.
Neither is what you're working on going to be perfect. But you've got to make up your mind that you're going to do it, and you're going to do it with everything you got. And finally, you cannot quit. Do not quit. You're going to have the
Yes.
temptation to quit. You're going to have the tendency to quit. Everything inside of you is going to say quit. I
Yes.
got up this morning, and so I started a video, and I'm gonna actually get this video put together, and it's gonna show my morning routine. So I'm talking to you when I woke up in the bed. It was funny because my wife, when I woke up in bed, it was still dark. I was videoing the time clock, and I began to talk to the phone, and my wife said, "Baby, who are you talking to?" And and she sat up right in the bed, and she said, "Who are you talking to? What are you talking about?" I said, "Baby, I'm doing my video for my walk, my workout." And she was like, because my wife has to have everything dark and it's got to be quiet for her to sleep, okay? And so she wakes right. She said, "What? Who in the world are you talking to, baby? Can you? I'm trying to sleep here." And so I said, "Everybody in my house is asleep, even the dog was asleep." And so I get up this morning, and so it was cold. And so that was excuse number one. It was cold. Number two, the wind was blowing. So I get out and I said, I'm gonna do my 25 miles and or 30 miles. And so when I got out there, man, listen, the wind was blowing. And so you think about that, and then you ride 20 something miles per hour. So you got the wind blowing, and if you got I had a side wind and I had a headwind. And so when you got the tailwind, it's really good. But in this case, I had a side wind and a tailwind. So when the side wind is blowing, if you're not going fast enough, you can't even cut through it. And so here I am, I'm rolling, and then in my mind, and I don't know how this happened. I don't know how the enemy got to my mind this morning, but he got to my mind and he said, "You should just quit. You're tired. Your legs hurt. Everything in you. You don't have enough energy. You don't have enough strength. You don't have enough of this. You don't have enough of that." And I just kept telling myself, and I kept telling this enemy in my mind. I don't know how he infiltrated my mind, but I kept telling this enemy, "You do not have the qualification to tell me to quit. You
Right.
cannot make me quit. You cannot make me give up. I'm going to keep pedaling." And so pedal after pedal after pedal, and then I got to probably be right about 20 something miles, and then everything in me said it just wanted to quit. Now I've ridden longer than that before. I've ridden 50 miles. I've ridden 55 miles. So that wasn't what should have made me quit, but it
Hmm.
was the cold, and it was the wind, and it was the fact that a lot of other riders didn't show up, and
Right.
so I didn't have the motivation. And then okay, here's go, here's go, here's go, here's good. So when we riding, we see this group. So what we do is we take off and we'll try to catch the group in front of us. And so we'll take off at like 10 after 7. We'll catch the group in front of us. And so about the time that I was about to give into the voice, I look up ahead and I see the group in front of us. And
Hmm.
so it's three of us riding. Usually it's about 8 of us riding. And so there's three of us. And so I'm in the group and I'm looking and I'm thinking, I'm like, man, if I fall out now, then I won't be able to catch the group. And if I fall out now, and it's called getting dropped. And so if I get dropped right now, like, man, first of all, who's gonna see me get dropped? So I'm looking around, and nobody's behind me because I'm the last one in the group. And
Oh
so,
God.
there's two people in front of me, and so it's getting ready to be my turn to take the lead. And so, at any rate, so I say, Lord, I said, I gotta keep going. I can't quit because I've come too far now to
Right.
give up and throw in the towel. And so we pass by the next group. And so as we're by them, then the challenge I got is I'm in front of them now, and they're constantly coming behind me. So everything in me now is saying, well, you should have gave up when you were behind them. Now that you're in front of them, you got to keep going, because if you give up now, they're gonna see you, and so it's gonna be you don't want that. And so sometimes the thing that you got to do is you got to get started going, because once you started going, the momentum of maintaining what you're doing will keep you going. It'll keep you in the race. It'll keep your mind going. It'll motivate you, and you'll get excited about doing what you're doing. If you start making money and you start creating, then guess what? The money that you're going to create as you sell your first book. You say, oh, I like this. I sold the first book. Okay, baby. I sold the first book. I like this. This is real good. When we started doing our lives, people, start buying books, start buying products. My wife says, like, well, I got to create another product. And then what you do? You created another product. And then you created another product. So my wife got good at creating products, because guess what? The motivation and the momentum of what you're doing starts to begin to say, uh-oh, I like this.
But even in that, one of the things that you have to always understand is, in doing something new, you have to do something new.
Wow.
You've got to learn something new. Our process, even though it gave us the ideas, we still had to do the research. We still had to get other resources to assist us in that process. And I think sometimes that is what comes to block us. And that's where we stop sometimes because one of the things, when God gives you something, you're going to still need him in order to finish it. You're not going to be able to do everything all by yourself within yourself. No, you're going to, because you're limited, but God is unlimited. He's the source of our total supply. So you're gonna have to rely on other people. You're gonna have to get other resources. You're gonna have to do research in order to fully birth what God has placed on the inside of you. And so that's sometimes where the fear comes in. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of, I've never been here before. I don't know what all this takes. We shared that with you guys just on, I think it was yesterday or yesterday, about the planner that God gave to me. He gave the idea, the vision, but I had to put the work in. I had to do the research. I had to get with the right people in order to put it together. And so that took time. It took effort. It took money. It took all of that. And still, there were challenges, but I had to press through. My husband was supporting me. He said, I'm gonna invest in what you're doing. I believe in what you're doing. And so when you have people that believe in you, that say, I'll stand with you, I'll encourage you, you need all of that. You need investors, you need money, you need energy, time, support, all of that.
And another thing about it is sometimes once you get started, it takes more effort than you thought it was. So when we looked at the planner, so the planner costs a certain amount of money. Then my wife finally told me at the end, she says, and baby, I got to get them shipped from China, and so I'm gonna need a few more dollars, and so I'm here like oh God, why did you tell me that in the beginning? Because, but if she told me in the beginning, I might